You know the drill. They fade into obscurity. Then years later, out of nowhere, they announce their return. Everyone flips out. It's the comeback story we all love to see. Let us take a look at some legendary players who tried to make a comeback and find out if they managed to recapture the magic. We're going back to the 1980s for our first story. As a young man, he won 5 amateur bouts with 5 knockouts. At just 24 years old, he became world champion after beating Wilfred Benitez. He had become the WBC welterweight champion. That year, he also won the title of Fighter of the Year. In 1981, he successfully defended his title 4 times before moving up a weight class. There, he won the WBC light middleweight title. After that, he took 2 years off. But when he returned, he made it clear that he was ready to go again. This time he was taking on a new opponent, Tommy Hearns. Unfortunately, Leonard ended up losing this fight. Though he won the rematch, he had to retire due to an injury. But boxing fans were still desperate to see him fight again. So he came out of retirement yet again to take on Marvelous Marvin Hagler. This bout became known as the Fight of the Century and took place in April 1987. It was expected to be a good match, but nobody expected it to end the way it did. Hagler won. Leonard retired once more afterwards. But what happens next really shocked everyone. After 3 years away from the ring, Sugar Ray Leonard announced that he would be coming out of retirement again. He was going up against Don the Dragon King. Many people were skeptical about his ability to win, but he shut those people up by claiming victory via knockout in the 10th round. He was now a world champion for a 3rd time. But this wasn't to last. In 1997, at the age of 41, he suffered his 6th defeat. It was then that he decided to hang up his gloves for good. All in all, Leonard had 6 world titles across 5 different weight divisions. He was officially inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1997. Our next athlete is Evander Holyfield, who was born in Atlanta, Georgia in 1962, nicknamed the Real Deal. He turned pro in 1984 and won his first world championship in 1986. He became the world heavyweight champion after beating Tim Witherspoon. But this was not his greatest achievement. In 1990, he fought George Foreman and knocked him out in the 10th round. This made him the undisputed world heavyweight champion. Holyfield went on to defend his title 10 times over the next 3 years. In 1996, he took a break from boxing to play the role of club fighter Big Daddy in the movie The People vs. Larry Flynt. When he returned to the ring, he lost his title to Mike Tyson. The loss was somewhat controversial because Tyson had bitten off part of Holyfield's ear. Another controversial moment happened during their rematch, when Holyfield's head accidentally poked Tyson in the eye. The referee penalized Tyson for this, but Tyson claimed that Holyfield was deliberately trying to blind him. Later, Holyfield won the World Boxing Association and International Boxing Federation cruiserweight titles. He became the oldest boxer to win a heavyweight championship when he beat Lennox Lewis in 1999, but he lost the title to Hasim Rahman in 2001. Over the next few years, he challenged for the title several more times, but without success. Then in 2008, at the age of 46, Holyfield announced his retirement. However, in 2011, he came out of retirement to take on Brian Nix. Unfortunately, he lost by technical knockout in the 1st round. Next up is Mark Messier. Born in 1965, Messner is widely considered one of the greatest NHL players of all time. He played for the Oilers, the Rangers, the Canucks, the Avalanche, and the Red Wings. During his career, he won 6 Stanley Cups and was named the Conn Smythe Trophy winner twice. He also won the Stanley Cup with 3 different teams, which makes him one of only 4 players to do so. And he holds the record for most points scored in Stanley Cup playoff history. Throughout his career, Messier played alongside some hockey legends such as Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, and Steve Yzerman. But it was with the New York Rangers that he became a true fan favorite. In 1994, he led them to their first Stanley Cup victory in 54 years. But by 1997, injuries and the team's poor performance meant that they were no longer contenders. In February that year, Messier was traded to the Avalanche. This was seen as a risky move at the time because they already had a lot of big names playing in the same position. But it paid off. That season, they won the Stanley Cup. And in 1999, won the Cup again with the Red Wings. The following season, the the Rangers asked him to come back. By then, he was 36 years old, and the team hoped that he could help them get to the Stanley Cup Finals. But unfortunately, they didn't make it past the second round. Messier then announced his retirement. But in 2000, he came back to play one final season with the Canucks. One of the best female tennis players ever is Chris Evert. She was born in 1954 and became known in the world in 1974. She held the top spot for several weeks, but soon lost it to Billie Jean King. In 1976, though, she got it back and spent a total of 260 weeks at the No. 1 spot. Over her career, she won 18 Grand Slam singles titles. Although she was known for her elegant style of play, she sometimes struggled against Martina Navratilova. They faced each other 80 times, and Navratilova won 50 of those matches. Just a year later, she was back on the court and reached the semifinals of the Australian Open. But then she had to take another break due to injury. And when she came back, she couldn't recapture her previous form. Even though she kept playing, she had to drop down to lower-ranked tournaments. Finally, in 1996, she hung up her racket for good. For our next story, we're heading to the world of baseball. Ken Griffey Jr. was destined for greatness. His father, Ken Griffey Sr., played in the MLB for 19 seasons, so it's no surprise that Griffey Jr. followed in his footsteps. Drafted by the Mariners in 1987, he made his debut in 1989. But he shot two. Fame in 1990, when the rookie appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine. The headline read, "The Next Great One," and fans couldn't wait to see him play. Over the next 7 seasons, he lived up to the hype. He hit 26 home runs and stole 47 bases. He also represented the American League in the All-Star Game 11 times. In 1996, he was traded to the Reds and became a free agent in 1999. Although many teams offered him huge contracts, he chose to stay with the Reds. Sadly, injuries plagued him throughout his career. In 2000, he played just 123 games, and by 2008, he was struggling to find his form. In June of that year, he was placed on waivers and subsequently picked up by the White Sox. In 2009, he played his final season with the Diamondbacks. But after suffering multiple injuries, he retired. In 2016, he was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, it's time for some rapid-fire comebacks. First up is Deontay Wilder. He was WBC heavyweight champion from 2015 to 2020. During this time, he successfully defended his title 10 times. But in 2020, he suffered his first professional loss against Tyson Fury. Wilder blamed his loss on being sabotaged by his former trainer, but ultimately it was ruled a no contest. While he is yet to announce his comeback, he recently posted footage of himself training hard on social media. Only time will tell if he can reclaim his title. Widely regarded as one of the greatest boxers of all time, Mayweather is undefeated in 50 professional bouts. He won world titles in 5 different weight classes. But how did he get the nickname Money? Well, he earned it because he was the highest paid boxer in the world. After his last official match in 2017, he came out of retirement to face YouTube sensation Logan Paul. The exhibition match was a huge success and generated millions of views online. But the result was a bit disappointing, as there was no official winner. And finally, we have Serena Williams. The American professional tennis player has been dominating the sport since she was 14 years old. She has won 23 Grand Slam singles titles and is tied with Margaret Court for the most number of Grand Slam titles overall. With a career spanning over 30 years, she is arguably the greatest player of her generation. In 2017, she gave birth to her first child and returned to the court the following year. However, she hasn't won a Grand Slam tournament since then. So there you have it, a look at some of the biggest names in sports who tried to recapture the magic of their former glory. Which comeback attempt surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.